Are you sure?
Here's the 30-second lesson on what legends know. Never ask a bride why she's getting married. Don't wear a skirt on a windy day. Deodorant is not a shower. Don't sniff chili flakes. And don't forget, saving is not investing. Legends don't just save, they invest in mutual funds. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
In about 2 years, the Adani Group has hit big international headlines thrice. First, with stories on its debt overhang. The second, the Hindenberg allegations of market manipulation and fraud. And now, prosecution by the US Department of Justice, the FBI, the SEC, the works. In between the big episodes, there was also some item numbers like the Supreme Court mandated inquiry committee and charges of conflict of interest against SEBI chairperson Madhvi Puri Buch. You can find the national interest article and cut the clutter episodes on these in the links that I am sharing with you with the description of this video. All this fouled up the air for India's fastest growing conglomerate without creating either the imminence of criminal action or jail for any of its key personnel or an existential threat to its global ambitions. The latest development, however, has introduced both now. The US has issued warrants against Gautam Adani, his nephew Sagar, and others named in the indictment. Adani Green Energy has cancelled its $600 million, about 5,600 crores today, international bond issue, and Kenya has withdrawn from nearly $3 billion worth of joint ventures in the country. This denies Adani, an Indian group with more international hunger than any other, its biggest global venture after the acquisition of the humongous Carmichael coal mine in Queensland, Australia. The group showed incredible resilience in recovering from the earlier setbacks. Of course, the system wasn't particularly hostile to it then. The big Hindenberg attack sank its follow-on public offer, FPO, to raise about 20,000 crore rupees. The markets hammered its stock as well. We had then listed it among the rites of passage for still evolving Indian capitalism. That's why we had said the market had won and it was for Adani now to decide whether he would lose or not. I will share that article also with you. We are back in the same place now. The charges this time are much graver, especially as these come not from interested market operators like, say, a short seller like Hindenburg or any whistleblowers or journalists. We can argue over the jurisdiction, in fact. It's a substantive argument, but the fact remains that these charges are now from a sovereign government. Isn't just that this is the most powerful nation in the world, the locus of all of the world's finance resides in its markets. Any quick damage control, therefore, is unlikely. Conspiracy theories like this being part of the Biden administration's project to muddy the waters in the 2 months before Trump takeover won't change the fact that these cases are in courts now. As in our system in India, once cases are in court and charge sheets are filed, the process itself becomes the punishment. In the US, maybe not that long, but still it's long enough. The Adanis are now exposed to it. There is a hope that Trump will come in and reverse all of this. But as the old wisdom goes, hope is not a plan. And in any case, even if Trump had such powers or intentions, it won't be his first priority. If anything, he will first want to do something about cases against himself in the same courts by the same prosecutors. This is therefore an awful mess, or as we would say in the language of the Hindi news channels, Raita phail gaya. Let's go deeper into how this could play out from here on. First, the Adanis are not about to be arrested. Unless one of them by some quirk of fate gets caught in an awkward jurisdiction. This is irrespective of what pressure the US builds or the demands by Rahul Gandhi. There are many good reasons for this, such as, and I'm listing them. One, a US warrant is not binding on India. The US certainly does not have with India the kind of relationship it has with the Czech Republic, which arrested Nikhil Gupta immediately on its say-so. those deals are mutual, and if that was the case, Gurpatwant Singh Pannu would have been sitting under arrest for a long time now. There is no way any Indian government, even if it was the Congress party's government, would execute an American warrant in a case like this. Nor would the Americans in a similar situation, because, hello, does the name Warren Anderson ring a bell? For the post-Google generation, he was the big boss of Union Carbide, charged and wanted in India for the mass slaughter in Bhopal. That presumably would be a bigger offense than market manipulation in another country, which is India, and non-disclosure of the same market manipulation in your own, that is the US. Anderson lived a long and smug life in the US until he died at 92. In the meantime, he sold his company to Dow Chemicals, cashing out his own equity and also creating a corporate veil to cover both Dow and Carbide. The murderous miasma of Bhopal gas clouds any arrest or any execution of US warrant on this or extradition in this case. In any case, as the old logic goes, if your kid goes and beats up the neighbor's kid, you don't let that kid's parents beat up yours. You call in yours inside and hand out the punishment that you want to give. It follows that even if the Congress party was indeed in government, and Rahul Gandhi was Prime Minister, it wouldn't be possible to make any arrests only based on the US charges and warrants. We would need charges of our own. What could these be? The US charges open the door for SEBI to take much action. Even impose bans or carry out seizures, such as a story by TCA Sharad Raghavan on ThePrint shows. I will share a link with you. For arrest, however, in India, you would need a criminal case. India does not have the equivalent of the American Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. That's actually quite unique to America. And this, by the way, even Trump detests as detrimental to US business interests and has talked about reversing it. A serious crime in India would be any evidence of money having been passed on to any government or political figure. That invites the wrath of the Prevention of Corruption Act, which is a very, very tough law in India. So far, the Americans haven't shown any money or money trail. If they do so going ahead, the picture will change dramatically. Even if the man who will be the first in the firing line then, Y.S. Jagannath Reddy, is half an N.D.A. ally. The awkwardness of that situation is evidenced by the silence of Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu. Does he go after his sworn enemy or arch rival and embarrass the BJP, the big brother in the N.D.A.? Good question. A money trail, just the smell of real money, will change the picture. We also need to note that the US so far has not sought any jail sentencing. But there can be superseding indictments, or what we call in India supplementary charge sheets. You cannot rule those out. However, at the moment, there isn't anything like that. Next, what's likely to happen then? It is possible that SEBI will now launch a new series of inquiries based on the charges of non-disclosure of these ongoing investigations to the regulators and the bourses in India. Second, it's unlikely that the group will continue to acquire strategic assets overseas. And third, its asset acquisition in India will also take a break. That's a real setback. And finally, what will surely happen, or has already come to pass in fact, first, Parliament will open to an almighty uproar by a rejuvenated opposition. Second, the Adanis' access to any foreign capital will now become impossible, barring who knows, a Saudi-style exception. The Chinese, in fact, have just shown the world how to sidestep the US by raising a $2 billion sovereign bond in Saudi Arabia. Last and most important punishment from the markets will continue. The damage this time will be deep and longer lasting. Already on day one, the group lost rupees 2,60,000 crores or 2.6 trillion in market cap. The next day, some Adani stocks showed some signs of recovery in early trading, but again closed negatively by the close of trading. So in 2 days, the stocks lost 3 trillion rupees. That little recovery is something what the markets call dead cat bounce, in the deepest disrespect to us cat lovers. Which brings us to where we had started with that 23rd February 2023 national interest. That, however wayward it may be, the market is still the fairest monarch of all. Courts, cops, agencies, we will watch. Meanwhile, we can phrase the larger argument simply as, may you ever be so high, the market is above you.